Ah, hello there again. Well, it is week 13. Yes! Getting close to it, And you are now students who are working on your individual paintings. You are creating or drawings or watercolors or pastels or mixed media, whatever angle that you're going into this, because you are the advanced art students. You're painting too. For that reason, I am showing you topical tips every week to inspire you to get on and to do work. So far, in terms of the postcards, I have received one back. Thank you very much, Daniel. Excellent work. I have sent them out to all of you, and you are going to send them back to me with the sketch on the front. So far, one return. Well done, Daniel. And the rest of you have a bit to do. So do send me the images of the work that you're creating. I cannot respond unless you participate with me. It's a two-way process. So I give out, but you need to give a little back, as you are the students, and I need to see what you're doing. Okay, so far so good, so you understand that. So I'm working again on this painting. I've started about just over 2.5 weeks ago. So far I'm at this stage. And as you can see, I've been painting the foliage in the background. In this particular painting, I'm starting with everything that is furthest away from the eye. So if you were actually looking at this scene, the furthest thing away is the sky. After the sky, coming closer to us, is the foliage, the trees and all their wonderment of verdant nature. And after that, this is actually a railway embankment. The tunnel goes under here and the rail tracks go over here. So what I had done, I had this tape which I had used, can't find the end of it, I had used to cover up pieces of the painting. Right, this is called masking. You may or may not have done that or be aware of it, but it is something that we use every so often. So you can paint freely a background without worrying about saving what you're going to do later. So with this kind of tape, I built it up like that, put bits on, stuck it down where I wanted to keep the shapes that I'd drawn down, and then I was painting freely over it. So I wasn't painting around the edges, which looks kind of pathetic. So I have some bits here which I can take off now. I've been painting this for 2 weeks, so it should be safe. Yo. Here it comes. Okay, so there, can you see that? I don't know if that's visible. Too easy. I might move the camera in later. So you can see what's going on here. Come out there, boy. It's left this drawing, which I'd done with pencil first of all, then I'd gone over it with kind of black ink. So that's, you can see in there is the side of that wooden railway fencing thing. So rather than lose that, and with the grass and all the stuff around it, it's kept it. And that's just that same masking tape, a bit thicker. And you can buy this tape from a hardware store. Some of it's better than others. You just have to experiment. If you're into art, you're experimenting all the time. If you're not into art, you're doing a course where you feel you're being forced to do it, and you do it for only one purpose, to try and upgrade your grade. That's a person who's not really into art. They're just into grades and all that stuff, you know. But if you're into art, you're experimenting all the time, which I'll talk about in a minute. So here I am removing it piece by piece by piece. You get the process. This has been masked out like that, you know, and it goes on. Take a wee bit more out. The great English composer in the background, Ralph Williams. Whenever I hear this music, I always think of Scott of the Antarctic, walking through that completely isolated, frozen plain on their remarkable expedition. Anyway, here we are. You can see that I've covered up that fencing. Now, there's different forms of masking. You can use the tape. Here's stuff. To be honest with you, I don't really like this stuff, but it's useful. This comes in a jar like that, and I think it's a kind of latex. The only problem with it is it hardens really quick, so you basically should only use it on a brush that you do not value very much at all, you know. And you can paint over things with it. You know, it's better, in one way it's better than the tape, because you can actually work on different shapes with it. And if you take, now I'm really not sure if this is going to work, so you have to bear with me. If you take a brush, paint over that, this bit's dried already, so that's, remember, when you're painting, you can always use tissues and things. So if that was a watercolour and I wanted to preserve I wanted to preserve it's probably not going to work. So I wanted to preserve here it is, yeah. I wanted to preserve the paper underneath and create white shapes without having to paint white on top of it, and just have the white shape made from the white of the paper. Then if you pull off the masking tape, there you are. You see, there. I mean, that's actually just the stuff I painted on. It's like a kind of removable latex. Rub it there. I'm rubbing it with a finger. You see, it's coming off. So I got those shapes that were underneath it. Okay, you see that? So you get I hope you get the picture. You know, that's it. Now, there are other methods. Yeah, here. I was trying to find a proper candle, but I couldn't. So I could only find one of those kind of, I don't know what they're called. You can use it for heating up a pot of tea, breaking it in half. Now, if you wanted to, now for this you really need to know what you're doing, because it's like invisible drawing, okay? Invisible drawing. Ah! So, God's sakes. The effect of lockdown on a Scotsman after 8 or 9 months. So I think it's a face here. I'm not sure. So I'm drawing. You could draw a whole thing invisibly. It'd be quite exciting. Obviously, I am just going to be doing a really abstract mess. And then, if you took the paint, you can paint on top of the wax that you've just drawn on. Okay, can you see that? I'll tell you who used to do this quite a lot was Henry Moore. I think of some of his drawings of his reclining nudes, which he became famous for, were done. Some of them early ones, some of them used a bit of magic. Can you see this okay? There, I'll put in a bit more red. So everything I drew with the wax is not taking the paint, so it's like showing out like that, okay? There. Okay, so you could work that much better than I have in the 30 odd seconds that I took doing this. But all you need is wax, candle, and you draw on the paper. I'm just going to make a shape here, okay? Like that. And then whatever you paint on top of it, is going to leave an impression. There, that's it there, that's it. I guess the harder you press, the better the white line will be, but that's it. You know, and later on you could go in there you could do up those lips, okay? You could do up the eye. Create all sorts of techniques. You know, that's one way of doing things. Okay. Another thing, just to show you that there's lots and lots of ways of painting. Today I'm using acrylic paint. You could take a whole pile of acrylics. One, yellow ochre, two. I mean, these are just suggestions. These colours are random. They're the first ones I'm picking out. Kind of purple, violet, dark blue, let's get some mellow yellow. Those are opposite colours, blue and yellow. You'll remember that from painting one. What you had? So much fun. And you may not have used this as a palette knife. It's not a real knife. You couldn't really cut, I suppose you could cut cheese with it or something, but it's not very sharp. That's a good reason for that, because you paint with it. So you can smear paint with it. You see the way I'm using that? Smearing over the board. Now I'm not really, yeah, I like abstract painting, but I'm not really a person who does it, because to me it's just, it doesn't stimulate me. It's too easy. I'll probably get a whole lot of comments saying abstract is not easy, but to me it takes a hell of a lot more work to make something look realistic than to do this. But anyway, here we are. You can see it's creating interesting shapes. It's easier to let yourself go with this now. If you wanted to, you can use the end of the brush like that, not the front, but the end, and you can scratch into that. Or if you have a palette knife, you can use it. Scratch away into that. Actually, it's easier said than done. And then you just make a demon. Something out of that Japanese film, Onibaba, which we showed in the college years ago, and then someone stole the DVD. I mean, God knows why. I mean, it's a pretty obscure film, and it's in black and white, made in Japan in like 1960, but people will steal anything. They stole the skull from our anatomy model, and other things over the years. Not that much, really, considering. So scraping in, you create a different kind of texture. My God. Colours and sensation. That's a different type of painting. Anyway, there you are, in 1 minute. Kind of face. Anyway, okay. Enough of all that. You're getting the idea, you know. I'm just playing around here and giving you inspirations. And you have to give me emails and texts with what work comes out of you. And I'll be delighted to see that. So until next week, old painty hand says, Bonne nuit. Have a good night and send me texts. Don't forget your attendance every week, at least with your name, so I know that you're still okay.